Hello and welcome to today's video. And now before we start this video, I just want to make it clear that I did not want to make this video in the first place, mainly because I really don't like being overly negative on my channel. I mean, yeah, there is the odd time where I make like the occasional criticism about how a park is being run or a ride or anything like that. And then there is obviously the odd few time where I make jokes about rides that are just straight up awful, like Hero or Infusion. But this whole thing has been going on with Merlin Entertainments, and especially how they're running Alton Towers. It's just gotten so bad that I can't ignore it anymore. I honestly can't. So if you've seen the title of the video about Merlin is in trouble, you will have heard, and if you've heard especially the recent news about them laying off their entertainments team, you'll know just how bad things are. Especially considering the fact that this is actually a concerning sign that Merlin possibly aren't willing to actually improve in preparation for when Universal Great Britain is expected to open. And in this video I'm actually going to be going over a number of things that Merlin have been doing, mainly to Alton Towers, but there'll also be some things that have been happening across the company's attractions in general. But this video will be mainly about Alton Towers and how Merlin are currently treating it. So let's start off with last year. Like it's no secret the past couple of seasons, Alton Towers, especially last year, have been pretty bad for the park. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not going to make jokes in this video because I am being genuinely serious. Like, the park have been they've been operating it to a much worse and worse standard every season, and especially with all the stuff that we've been hearing over the close season, there's looking to be no signs of improvement. Let's start like around this time last year. We were given a statement from Alton Towers Divisional Director Bianca Sammer stating that they plan to make 2024 the best season ever, and revealed a few things they had planned for the year. They obviously had Nemesis Reborn, the reopening of Hex, the new VIP track walks, as well as general maintenance and, you know, fixing up and sprucing up already existing rides. And 2024 didn't actually get off to a pretty bad start. It was actually pretty good, especially with Nemesis Reborn, and some of the rides getting just, you know, a few fixer-uppers and like licks of paint and whatnot. But other than that, the bad news is that Skyride was closed for yet another full season. Hex wasn't ready for opening day, and they just kept Hex closed for the most of last year, and they reopened it in the last 4 weeks of the season, only to have the rides be almost identical to what it was before, but with some silly new, kind of tacky new lighting effects. So the last year was nowhere near. It was actually kind of disappointing to say it was supposed to be the best season ever, and yet it wasn't even close to that. On top of that, yeah, they did like a few paint-ups of already existing rides at the start of the season, but after that point, they kind of left those rides to as they were. They just left them as they were. Like, they didn't continue to look after them or clean them throughout the season. So a lot of them, especially like the Smiler and Galactica, just starts to look really tired and worn down. And also, scaling back on entertainment offerings, Mardi Gras and Festival Thrills were both removed from the events lineup, which, you know, is pretty bad because, yeah, Festival of Thrills wasn't a great event, but it was still an event at the park's lineup and it added to the atmosphere. Mardi Gras was a pretty good event as well, but both those events were removed due to budget cuts, I presume. That's mainly the whole excuse of all the stuff that's been scale back on these past couple of seasons. And also introducing the House Ruins and Gardens tour. Now this is probably one of the stupidest things they've ever done. I do not like the idea of the Towers Ruins and Gardens tour, because a couple of years ago you used to be able to roam through most of the Towers Ruins completely free of charge. They kept it closed all of last season though, and halfway through 2024 they added the new VIP Towers Ruins and Gardens tour, which you have to pay a small fortune to go in a few areas of the Towers Ruins, but not nearly as many as you used to be able to when it was free. So yet again, another quick money-making scheme. Well, I know the whole point of a business is to make money anyway, but this is just kind of ridiculous. They already make plenty of money each year anyway from ticket sales. And also the fact that, yet again, 2024 was another year of just complete radio silence on Project Horizon, but I've already made a video on that a couple of months ago. Not to mention, also cutting back on park opening hours and park times. So On several points throughout the year, the park would just be closed on weekdays. And also they would cut operating hours during the summer holidays and even during Scarefest as well. And like I mentioned, they kept Hex closed up until the end of last year, and just for that to be a massive disappointment. Well, not really a massive disappointment, but we were expecting more considering it was closed for nearly two full seasons. And then we've approached Christmas, and literally Christmas, the Christmas lineup was already kind of not great anyway. But literally just for Christmas last year, they only had Spinball Wizard and Mutiny Bay and CBeebies Land open. In fact, I don't even think Spinball Wizard were open. And they had pretty just boring entertainment offerings by the looks of it. And then things have just gotten worse through the closed season as well. They haven't gotten any better. They've removed 3 rides. Well, I say that, but there's kind of 4 rides as well. The Blades, which that's probably the biggest disappointment. They've removed the Blades. Flavio's Fabulous Fandango, which, well, we knew they had to get rid of sooner or later because it needed to go back to the fairground. Alton Towers Dungeon, which isn't that big of a loss, but then again, well, it's not in my opinion anyway, but it was an attraction. It was also adding capacity to the park, so yep, another closed ride. And also the Postman Pat ride in CBeebies Land, which is now being replaced by a brand new junior coaster, which they plan to open next year. Again, that new junior coaster, they're getting rid of another ride to replace with a new ride. So I suppose, but then again, that's just that. I don't know. I'm not really keen on the appearance of that junior coaster. It just looks pretty boring. I know it's only another kids area, but you know, it is what it is. And they've removed 4 rides during the closed season, and they only plan to add 1 new ride for this year, which is Toxicator. Now I'm sure Toxicator will be good, mostly, but the fact that the Toxicator, which is only going to have a maximum hourly capacity of 500 riders per hour, compared to the Blade, which had a maximum hourly capacity of 1,800 riders per hour. So yeah, the queues this year are going to be even worse than they were last year. The queues were pretty bad last year with all the rides breaking down, and I don't think it's going to be any better this season. And now these last 2 things are probably the worst things that they have done, what Merlin have done to Alton Towers by far. Just before Christmas, they laid off all of their Merlin magic making staff, which is just absolutely terrible. And the reason they said they did this is because this actual department, they said, is not meeting their financial expectations, even though Merlin Magic Making responsible for some of the best things that have happened at Merlin Parks in recent years, like Nemesis Reborn, The Curse of Alton Manor, Hyperia, World of Jumanji, just to name a few. And yet this is the thanks that they get for that. I feel so sorry for the Merlin Magic Making staff that lost their job just before Christmas as well. That is just unnecessarily cruel. Like, just before Christmas, what a horrible time to lose your job. That is actually horrible. Seriously. And then more recently, like literally a few days ago, they laid off their entertainments team. So all the actors that you would see roaming around the park or performing live shows on stage, they've all been laid off. That is actually horrible as well, because the entertainments team, like even during last year when they had like the Phalanx hazmat people roaming around Forbidden Valley, and you know, all the scare actors for Scarefest and whatnot, all the actors who were on stage at the Phalanx Expo for fireworks, they add an extra, they bring that atmosphere, they amplify that atmosphere of the whole park and the areas that they're in, and add new life. And you know, there's such talented people, and they've all lost their jobs at Merlin, which is actually, honestly, this is genuinely concerning. Now, there are possible, for all these things I've just listed, I can only think of 2 explanations. And this kind of relates, one of these reasons will kind of relate to Universal. I'm not saying that, basically one reason is Merlin themselves, they really don't care that Universal are on the horizon, and they've just given up and are trying to save every last penny possible by making as many budget cuts as possible before Universal opens, because Merlin probably won't exist by that point if they continue as they are, or they're genuinely in some kind of serious financial crisis. Now we don't actually know what's going on behind closed doors, because there's been zero transparency between Merlin higher-ups and customers, but you know, we can only assume it's one of the two. And it's just genuinely sad and very worrying. Like I said at the start of the video, I really don't like being this negative on my channel, and especially not about Alton Towers, because seeing what they've done to Alton Towers, it's been my favourite theme park for years. And seeing how it's being trapped by Merlin, it is genuinely, I'm not happy about it. So it's really sad. I am genuinely sad about it all. So what we've basically gathered from all of this is that even though Alton Towers is Merlin's flagship park across all of their attractions, they're not actually bothered about investing in it to secure its future, or to, you know, actually bring it up to the standard of the European parks, or even the rest of the UK parks, which are actually looking to improve and make the experience better for visitors. And all they're bothered about is just saving every single penny possible, even if that means taking away stuff from all of their attractions, but especially Alton Towers. That seems to be the trend across over these past couple of years. And this is literally making less and less people actually want to visit Alton Towers and renew their Merlin annual passes, because honestly, Merlin, literally, they're making all these cutbacks, removing all these things, and just not actually investing in the park or adding anything new or exciting, or even looking after all the rides, and yet they have the audacity to continue raise prices for tickets and short breaks, and continue to bring back these silly VIP things like the VIP track walks and the Towers, Ruins and Gardens tour. So yeah. Even Merlin don't care that Universal is coming, and they've just decided to give up and, you know, save everything they can before the ship completely sinks, or they are genuinely in some kind of financial crisis. Now we won't know, but if they continue at the rate that they are, then Merlin themselves, they won't even be around by the time opening day for Universal Great Britain comes around. And as for basically what we plan to do, now, we've had Merlin annual passes for several years. We're not renewing them this year because they're just not worth it. Literally the main Merlin attraction we actually do visit regularly is Alton Towers, and the fact that there's no investment going into that park whatsoever, and the fact that nothing new, well, there's nothing actually. What's the word? Basically, they're just making it a worse experience gradually as time goes on. So there's no point in spending hundreds of pounds a year just to go to a rundown park with broken rides. And so I will still be going to Alton Towers on the 15th of March, and I will try to enjoy it as much as I possibly can, because that'll be the last time I actually visit Alton Towers for a while. I'll try to get back for Scarefest and fireworks, but it'll probably be the most boring Scarefest ever now, the fact that the entertainments team are gone. As for plans for the rest of this season, the theme park season, I do plan to get some other non-Merlin parks. Like I'm going to get to Black Pleasure Beach Resort in April, and hopefully get to Drayton Manor for the first time later this year, so that'll be good. And there are a few other parks I plan to get to, but nothing else is concrete other than Pleasure Beach and partially Drayton Manor, and obviously Alton Towers for opening day. And yeah, I'll just plan to get to these other smaller parks that actually want to invest in themselves and want to improve significantly to prepare for Universal, or just at least bring actual guest satisfaction to their parks, which is not what Merlin are doing right now with Alton Towers, and it's really sad to see. But yeah, I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. Like I said, I really do not like being negative on this channel. Well, not to this extent anyway. But if you have actually visited Alton Towers or any Merlin attraction these last few years, and you're not happy with the way that these parks or attractions are being ran, or the presentation of it, or the cutbacks, then don't be afraid to speak about it. If you're a content creator and you've got an engaging audience, like, post about it online. You know, let people know that you're not happy with what Merlin, how Merlin are handling Alton Towers in the moment. Or even if you're not a content creator, even if you're just a normal visitor at the park who's just seen the state of the park right now and how it's being ran, and you know, the overall presentation of it, then I don't know. Even then, you just give them send a message to like guest feedback or put a review on the park's website, like on their next post, put a comment about your experience of the park, and then let other like-minded people know that they're not the only ones who are unhappy with their experience at Alton Towers lately, and how Merlin are handling it and what they can do to improve. Because the more people that actually speak about it, well, I say the more people actually, you know, raise this issue and speak about it, then the more chances are higher ups at Merlin are seeing it. And yeah, the less people will actually go to Alton Towers because they've seen all these negative reviews, and then there'll be no customers coming to the park, and then they're going to have to do something. And they're going to have to do something anyway when Universal opens. But yeah, I don't know. It's not looking good for the park at the moment, or for Merlin, and I guess we'll just see how this year plays out. So I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. And if you've enjoyed it, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment where you'd like to see in the next video. Goodbye.